Hi guys, Ray here, City Fan TV. Got Bernard in the house as well. Let me just make sure I've got nothing.
You've been running, mate.
I tell you what, really don't feel great now. I was in the kitchen just chatting to the wife. I'd made some notes. I'd watched the game again, or not the game again. I'm not stupid. I watched the highlights. And I thought,
I don't think anyone could sit through that 90 minutes again. I'm sorry.
No. So I watched the highlights, made some notes, and then I was talking to my missus, and I was just on eBay looking at some ties, like I do, and I was just chatting away, and then I said, "Oh, it's 1 minute to go. I'm gonna have to hopefully there's no echo, guys. Hopefully there's no echo, but I'm gonna have to leg it up to Bernard." So I was in the kitchen. So I'm in my studio. What's left of it is in my attic. So I got upstairs, all up. How many stairs have I got? A lot. 36 steps. Something like that. So I climbed up all these steps, sat down, and thought, where's my notes? So I had to go down all them steps, get my notes, come back. And by the time I got back, I was absolutely knackered, mate. Well, I had my introduction. Sorry for guys for being late. I'll go through a few points and then I'll give my introduction as I had planned it 3 minutes late. Dre says, I wouldn't say that we threw it away because that's the title of what I've written, that City threw it away. More of that didn't take what was handed to them on a plate, on a platter. Similar nonsense versus Everton. These games are where the title may be lost. Well, we threw it away. We threw it away by not scoring and let them score with their first attempt on target. I think the stats are 4 teams have scored. Was it the last 4 times we've let goals in? They've all been the first shot on target or something. We've drawn with Everton. We're drawn now with Forest. We drew with Villa, and there's another game I think we drew where we were battering teams. Really, if you can't put the ball away,
I don't think Everton and Villa we battered them like we did yesterday.
Yeah. But we were on top. But I think with that Everton and Villa, what we didn't do was we didn't put the game to bed, same as yesterday. The difference was in those games we didn't really create that much, and we didn't look like we were bothered in creating that much. That's what got me. We were happy with holding on to a 1-0 win. Yesterday, we were trying to get the second, and at some point, people said, well, we'll talk about game management. Did they not get into the right mode for game management? Bill ABC TV says, hi to Ray and Bernard. Akash, we played amazing. Arsenal will definitely drop points. We have to stay in the race. Absolutely. My lovely son has bought me cup of, what do they call it? Coffee. I don't know what they call it in America. There's another word for it. Trying to remember stuff. I mean, memory's going.
We're not in America.
I know, but you watch all that America. I'm giving him all this praise. It's not very warm. It's not going to last me very long. This.
Nice hot cup of coffee.
I'm sure he's not boiled the water and he's put a ton of milk in. Yeah, I do like milk, but I like my coffee to be hot.
Like your women, strong and brown.
I want them hot and dark, sultry. Hey, this is a family show, Ben. It's before the watershed.
I've not seen any family on this comment yet. I've not seen any family members.
We played well, just not finished them, says Alec. We never finished them off. KB struggled. Mr. Roll Up, hi, nice to have you on board, buddy. Players didn't take their chances and Pep mismanaged the game with a 1-0 lead in less than 50 minutes. Well, you can't stop other teams scoring. You can't just.
You might respond, though, to substitutions that the other team are making and slightly do something different yourself.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I'm no tactician, but it's not rocket science. We knew what was going to happen, so why did we just carry on regardless?
Yeah. Pep just carries on the same. He don't want to admit he's wrong. Akash's Haaland should have.
It was perfectly right. It was perfectly right for the first 80 minutes, but once we hadn't scored a second goal, you get a bit more pragmatic, don't you? As a manager, you think, right, I'll put Aki on, I'll put Phillips on, and take bloody Haaland off because he's no use to bloody ornament, and just play the game out at 1-0. And if you nick another one, fair enough.
My question is going to What stage of the game do you do that? Did you do it after 70 minutes, 75, 80, 85?
You see, when he started subbing, when he started putting Wood on and people like that, that's when you should respond. I'm sorry, you don't have to do it before he does anything. We're 1-0 up, comfortable. We look like we could score a second. But as soon as he starts putting other guys on, you have a look at that. He must know about Nottingham Forest. He must know about what he's going to play with them, with Wood and players like that. I don't
totally understand.
Anything.
Totally understand. This is Pep. Do you think he looks at it and says, they're putting more attacking players on, they're going to be more open, we're going to score that second goal? I don't know.
We could do that by shoring up the defence as well, because we know, we see it time and time again. Arsenal did it against Villa. It doesn't make any difference. I mean, once a team goes for it, of course you can sneak a goal, but you start with your defence first of all, and then you worry about breaking and scoring a goal. Look, keep Haaland up front on his own, and out to him, and he might get a goal.
Yeah, you got to do something. Haaland was trying to avoid these things. Irony says Dre. Pep needs a number 2 who he listens to, says Big Morgan. Bill's ABC TV says, should they have had 4 at the back? Big Morgan wants to win 1-0 and Mr. Roll up. You do it when they bring Wood on, bring on Aki and lock it down, see out the 1-0 victory. Sorry, guys, a lot of messages coming through, but all right, I'll tell you. I was in Nottingham yesterday. I went to Nottingham yesterday. Big mistake. But no, it wasn't a mistake. The timing was a mistake. I had to go to Nottingham because we bought a new car. Woo! Okay. So we'd got a new car. And since I'm Billy No Mates, I have no one to go down to Nottingham with, because he really wants to drive from where I live, a best bet 2 hours there, and then come back. And possibly have to sit around with me for a few hours and then drive back. So I thought I'll get the train down. I'll try and get a ticket for the game. Which I didn't. I couldn't get a ticket, message a few people. No one sorted me out. So I went down, went into Manchester to get the train. Rammed. It was a Liverpool to Norwich train. Absolutely packed. 4 carriages. And when I got on the train, it was rammed. So, I was standing next to the toilet, all the insides, it was rammed. Someone said the previous train had 2 carriages. So I'm getting this train. I don't know what time did we get this train, about 11 o'clock or something. No, a bit before, whatever. And it was absolutely 10:47. It was rammed. Someone said the one before only had 2 carriages and about 50 people were left on the platform. So it was crazy going down there. And then I went off to get my car. Probably good job I didn't get the ticket, because I didn't get out the car showroom till the game had finished. So I didn't even get a chance to watch it. I'm just, watching. I watched the Villa game against Arsenal on my phone. And I'm obviously, when it was quite late in the game and it was 2-2, I was thinking, yeah, right, we got this. And anyway, we didn't get this. And my lad's checking the car. He's writing me lots of messages. He's, there's no safety vests. There's no car mats and all this. And anyway, so he's just going to keep sending me messages. So anyway, so I've done all this, and then it's not great. And I'd night to eat, just had water, coffee, and hot chocolate, and that were it until the evening. And then City drop a bollock 10 minutes from the end of the game. And I think, because obviously I'm just following it, I wasn't watching it on a stream or anything or live, so you just get bits and pieces of information as it goes through. Hey, Froston, hope you're well, buddy. Hey, I'm just, I will say before I disappear, with 3 away from 1,000. 3 away from 1,000. So if anybody who isn't subscribed, please subscribe. We should have hit 1,000, but I didn't do any videos for the last 3 days. Hey, anyway. So it, it's when you're starving, you got a lot of palaver with your car, because my insurance, who I spoke to last week about changing cars, and I thought everything was all right. I got the car, and they said, no, we won't insure you. The broker said, the insurance that you're with won't insure you, because it's because you've got a nice car now. Basically, we won't insure you. And so I wasted an hour there sorting some insurance out. Anyway, and then City dropped that bollock, and we ended up drawing the game. It's gutted. Absolutely gutted. So that's my story of yesterday. I'll go through some more comments, and I'll bring Bernard in, who obviously has watched a bit more of the game than me. Dre says, agree with Bernard, could have showed up when Nottingham made subs. I think Haaland wasn't confident with the angle and hence went down easy. I think for that one, I think Bernard, a lot of things. He probably thought, even if he's outside the area, we're winning 1-0. Fella will get sent off, get the red card. We won't get a penalty, but we'll get a good opportunity from. Maybe he thought it was in the box, but he thought if the guy's denying a goal scoring opportunity, he will get sent off. If it's in the box, we'll get a penalty. If it's outside, we'll get a free kick. And you'd think, it's not the same as the second goal, but it's a big difference.
Instinctively, he should be going for goal there. I don't care what anyone, he didn't get enough of a touch to be brought down. And he should have opened his body up for his left foot to try and curl it in the far post. I just felt very disappointed with it.
But Bernard, the thing is, if he's been tugged, okay, and he can go down. I've seen.
He hardly touched him. It's nothing. He was
on the shoulder a little bit. No. I've seen penalties given for stuff like that. But you always think they're soft. I agree with you. He should have carried on to score. But the players look at it this way: they say, if I take the shot and I miss, they won't come back for the foul. Okay, it was a minor foul. I agree with you, because don't rely on the referee giving that foul. Don't.
You play to the whistle. I'm sorry, if you get a little bit of contact like that, unless you're going down, you don't go down. By that stage, we should have been about 4, 5, 6 goals up anyway, so it shouldn't have mattered. I mean, obviously, Foden did that cock up anyway. He should have really played it.
I've got my notes. I'm going to go through these.
We wouldn't be remembering the Haaland misses. We'd be just talking about another comfortable 2-3-4-0 win.
Hey, the Frost Zone, nice to have you on board. I think you are new, so if you can be one of those 3 people that subscribe, gets to 1,000.
No, he's already subbed. He just says further down. He was the original gunner.
All right. I'm slightly behind. Mr. Roll-Up says champions find a way to win 1-0 when it's obvious that second goal isn't coming. It's called game management. Big Morgan.
We used to be very good at it. We used to be very good at game management, but it's something we seem to have forgot this season.
Original gunner. I can't honestly, Froston. You're probably going back at least a year.
I think I remember original gunner on your thing somewhere along the line.
Yeah, my memory is pants these days, so I'm sorry, can't remember everything. These things happen. City will learn. Look, here's the thing: City haven't won more than 3 games on the bounce this season. That's not former champions. I said if we can put a run together. I actually thought I looked at the next 5 games, including the Forest game. I thought, or 5 or 6 games. I thought if we win them all, and I think we could, then I think we'll win the title. I honestly thought that. And then the first game, we chucked it.
I mean, it's ironic, isn't it? Before the Arsenal and Forest game, if you said you get 4 points out of the next 6, I would have been happy. Well, not happy, but okay. I would have been reasonably satisfied. But obviously not this way around, because you'd imagine a draw at Arsenal and win at Forest. So it's very disappointing.
Yeah, look, we got overall over those 2 games, we got more points than Arsenal, but not enough. Akash's thoughts on Leipzig. I'm not going to discuss that till maybe tomorrow. Yes, they're in good form, but we're a better side. But we've not been showing it. Maybe
put it this way, they're better than Forest, so we might be in trouble.
Edison has been horrible for us. Every shot on target is a goal. Any replacement? I don't know.
I don't think he could have done a lot with the goal, to be honest. It was a cracking cross where our defenders were falling apart left, right and centre with the build up to it. And I'm not sure Edison could have done them. I mean, we can criticise him when he does. He is, there to be criticised.
I'm about to turn this round because my wife's coming. She's
always struggling to do anything with that goal, I think.
Sorry, guys, I wasn't talking about my wife's just coming to show this new blouse she's bought and this scarf. I'm going to turn it around so you can see her. No, she's running out now.
That's only because she's only got a scarf and blouse on, nothing else.
Well, I tell you what, mate, I'm in my 50s. That'd be the day.
Oh well, life in the old dog yet.
Those days of being greeted, but like that when you come back from work are long gone. So yeah, look, let's have a look. There's a lot of comments here, and I will go through some of the game. Foden could have taken a shot, anything, but I'll tell you what he did. I'll tell you what I think he did in that situation. What were the positives of the game? The positives, we created a ton of chances which we haven't been creating. That's the positive but we didn't score. It's like when we make fun of Nunes. People made fun of him because he wasn't contributing much to Liverpool. but he was always getting in those chances, and it was only a matter of time before he will start scoring. And now he's starting contributing a lot. He's the goal magnet or the chance magnet tag has been linked to him. He's going to score. Was it 2.5 years ago when we knew Aguero was finished at City? I did a video with Portuguese American guy about Nunes, talking about him potentially coming to City, and then he went off to Benfica, and then obviously he's made that move to Liverpool. I think he'd have been great at City. So let's go through some more points. Akash, have you noticed we never concede goals from Diaz and Walker's side? We should play Stones and Ake on the left. We will be solid. Laporte is not made for this level. Oof. I heard about Laporte wanting to go because Ake is getting a new contract. I don't know if that's linked. Yeah, we'll see. It's all good. It's been a while since I've been here. I remember talking to you about Arteta joining Arsenal. See, Arteta joining Arsenal. See, I said it. You got your plonkers like troops and a load of other of the Arsenal fan base who were quite vociferous, who slagged him off, and but it's all BS. And I said, at one point it was tongue in cheek because Arsenal were getting pasted and they were looking rubbish. But that's when you had people like Aubameyang and Lacazette and Pepe knocking about. They were, they weren't good enough. And I said, stick with him. He'll turn it around. Now, best team in the league is Arsenal. They're doing it by what they've done on the pitch. They got the points, and they do look good. And they, like you said, against Villa, they've come back. They've bounced back from the defeat against City. They bounced back from some poor performances. And okay, at one stage, I thought Villa were going to win or at least get a point. Arsenal did what champions do. They did what champions do. United are back in the title race as well. Akash says United keep winning. That's what champions do. Does Pep have anyone on the coaching staff who can give advice during a game? I don't think he'll listen to them. Hi, Algerian Warrior. Salam to you, brother. Dre says, can't be happy when you pummel a team and drop points towards the end like that. When you're, yeah. I totally understand. Mrs. Ray, she's disappeared. Oh, it's been an expensive weekend. She's got one of her bosses is retiring, and they're having a farewell party tomorrow. So obviously she has to go out and buy something for that. And then it was her sister's birthday recently. She said, we're going to go for a party there next weekend. So she said, I've got to buy her some gifts and stuff. So, and she said, you're going to buy your son some jeans, and the other one needs a tracksuit. I'm thinking, not made of money, so buy your own presents, but I'll buy the stuff for the kids, and come back with a ton of stuff that it's like chatting to one guy. We're in a shop, and he says, I got loads of jackets, but you see the prices, and you buy stuff you don't need. You end up buying. That's what we ended up doing. So knackered today. Haaland not working for City, says Algerian Warrior. Well, if he'd scored, he would have worked. That's it. If Haaland had scored that goal, that great chance he had, it would have worked. If Pep is going to continue to play through at the back, he must recognise when it's time to switch to 4 at the back late in games. I agree, Mr. Roll-Up. Says, I can tolerate City not winning every year. It's finishing below Man United. I can't stand what it has happened for 10 years, so let's hope that continues. City play top 6 teams away. They've got our place to visit. Long way. It is a long way to go. Algerian Morris says the question will be how many important goals has he scored? And who's that? Brandon Masters evening still not got over yesterday. Well, I don't think any of us have. It's been a tough old thing. Brandon, if you're not a subscriber, please think about it. Well, don't think about it. Do it, man. We were on 997 subscribers when we started the show. Still on 997 subscribers. It would be nice to tick over.
A bit worse. Could have gone down.
Sorry? It could have gone down. It'd be nice. No, it'd be nice to tick over with probably, I think you've been the most regular guest we've had on the show. I think, Bernie, it would be nice to tick over.
The Bill said about tagging me now. I'm having trouble with Twitter. I don't know if Twitter have changed, but I'm getting a lot of stuff where people are tagging me and I'm just not getting notification of it. So I don't know if there's a new rule or anything, the Bill ABC TV. So if I don't respond, mate, it's just I'm not getting a lot of notifications at the moment.
The thing is, I've got the same with Twitter. I don't see anything where people respond to tweets and stuff, and then I have to go back and look at the original tweet. And suddenly I've got a dozen messages slagging me off, a dozen comments slagging me off. And
it's only the last day or two it's started going funny on me. I'm not getting what I used to get on it now.
All right, Bill's posted on Facebook. He says, well, let's go through some points. Evening, Chris. I hope you're well, buddy. Right, let's go through some of my... I'll go through it mostly chronologically. So we had that initial Foden free kick. City were appealing for a penalty, especially Laporte, where he got, I think, a little tug on his arm. Did you think there was enough in that?
I didn't see enough back of it, to be honest with you. I've read, like you, reports that it should have been. Some people think so, but I've not actually gone back and watched any replays or anything like that, so I'm not too sure. At the time, I didn't think too much of it, but then again, I wasn't worried about the fact we weren't going to win the game, so it didn't bother me so much, probably.
Well, I thought when I watched it, I thought, that could have been given because Laporte could have been the closest. He wasn't far away from that, and a tug of, holding him back just a little bit for a fraction of a second is enough to stop him getting there. So, it's one of those. If the ref would give it, I don't think VAR would have overturned it, but the ref has to give it, and he didn't give it. So we missed out there. I thought KDB shooting, it was horrible. He had a few long-range shots.
Horrible. At least 6 or 7 shots that just were nowhere. I think he got one on target, but straight at the keeper.
Yeah. Rodri header, that should have the one.
That should have been a goal. That was disappointing. He had lots of time. He wasn't blocked. His vision wasn't blocked by anybody. He rose for it. He knew what he was going to do with it. He got at least hit the target.
You're never going to get a better opportunity. There's no one within yards of him. You say, clean sight of everything. And you should not even be hitting the target. You should be scoring. Forget hitting the target because
he went for the corner, but he obviously missed. He didn't go to it straight out the goalie's mouth, but he had loads of the goal to aim at both sides, and he just obviously went for that corner and totally fluffed it.
Yeah, Bernard had a decent shot that went wide, and then he slammed the ball on from a Grealish pass following a corner. Do you think the goalkeeper should have saved that? Because it pretty much went straight at him.
Yeah, it's not. I like him as a I don't know why I like his personality, but as a keeper, I don't particularly rate him. I think he has a cracking game. I remember watching him a couple of weeks ago, thinking, "Bloody hell, he's improved from last time I saw him." But yesterday, I think we should have pulverised him yesterday. I thought it was very poor yesterday. He was a bit nervy, and I think we should have had a hatful, and obviously one way or the other.
Yeah. I thought he should have done better with it, but I needed to see it from behind the goal to see if it swerved, because I've seen shots that have beat someone during the week on either YouTube or Twitter video, and it looked like it went straight. It was probably Barcelona or someone in training, and it looked like it went straight. But when you look at it again, it's gone one way, and then it's kind of swerved the other way or jagged to the other way, and the goalkeeper, he didn't move. There was no point because he starts going one way, and once he starts going, you think, well, why? It was right near you. But sometimes the lateness of the move does it. Let's go to some points. All right, let's talk about Foden falling on his ass. The guy finally gets a start. And I'll come to Mahres being dropped in a minute. Foden finally gets a start. Now, he gets put through by Gundogan. A nice cushion volley pass through to Foden, racing clear. And if no one was near him, he'd have opened his body and curled it around the keeper. I'm sure of it. Okay?
That's what he wanted to do. That's what he wanted to shoot. There's no doubt about that. Even though Haaland was to his left, he wanted to shoot. He wanted to take this job.
He got in position to shoot. He was opening his body to shoot. Then he realised, actually, I should be passing to Haaland. And that's when he had that bad touch and he messed up. If he'd been running down with the intention to pass it to Haaland, he wouldn't have opened his body up that much.
It would have gone to Haaland far quicker than it.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have opened his body because
doing that. But in fairness, Foden was terrific the first half. I thought he was absolutely stunning. I thought, well, City as a team, I thought were excellent the first half.
You can't
first half seen from City in a long time, away from home with pace, a lot of movement. We were fantastic. And once we got that 1-0 up, I thought, I honestly thought, even if it only stayed 1 or 2-0, I thought, game over. Forest aren't coming back into this.
Yeah, look, we had so many chances. I got some idiots slagging Foden off because he'd missed the pass to Haaland, ignoring the fact that the rest of that first half especially was pretty damn good. I saw some good stuff out on the left. The cross for the free kick was wicked. Out on the right, sorry, Foden was doing some good stuff out on the right. Good passing, good dribbling, good control. And for people to criticize him, it's just people want to make a noise. But you're right. As I said, Foden, like you said, Foden wanted to shoot. He was ready to shoot, and then he thought, "I'd better pass this." And it's just that was really bad because he'd opened his body up and then he'd lost focus on the ball. And I think if he'd just been running through without opening his body, he could just hit it with the outside of his foot or something to Haaland. Haaland just rolls it in. That would have been 99% of the time game over. 2-0 up, no one's coming back. But he fell on his ass, and that was that. Let's have a look. Oh, now we used to say John Stones has got balls of steel. Well, Keylor Navas, he ain't got balls of steel, but they're big enough. They were big enough to stop that Laporte header, which it hit him straight in the Christmas box. Okay, and then he managed to save that. And it's like, here's the thing: getting your head a good clean header or a shot away isn't good enough. Just to say, well, I got it on target. It's not good enough. You've got to be putting it to one side.
He only had to put it a few inches to either side of Navas, and that's in the goal. It's as simple as
that. He was about 6 yards out. There's no way Navas would have been able to respond on moving time. And it's just, you can look, if your glass is half full or empty, you can just say it was unlucky, or you can turn around and say, actually, he should have done better. It should have been a goal. Look at how many chances we just talked about there. We talked about Rodri's header going wide, the chance that Foden should have passed to Haaland. That's 2. We talked about Laporte's headers straight at Navas, which we mentioned earlier on about Haaland falling like a sack of spuds when he should really have shot. 4 good chances there. Then we had another decent one. Walker whipped across him, across the 6-yard box, and Gundogan just was unable to get there. Then you had the Haaland foul where he shouldn't have fallen over, really. And then the worst one of the lot. Where was it? Haaland ended up having a shot. It came off the bar. He's there. He controls it.
The goalie didn't collect it, did he? Sort of bounced back out. And Haaland had to hit it back down into the ground, which is probably the position he was in. How he set himself. Unlucky that he hit the bar, but then... Yeah. Just remind you a little bit of the Community Shield, that late chance we got where he blasted over when he looked as though he just got to side foot it into the top corner. And not good. But I say at that stage, he probably should have. He should have scored. Already scored 1 or 2 anyway. So
look, I've gone through 5 great chances. They were all great chances. Okay, and I'm not including the Gundogan one. The rest were great chances. We should have done something. Gundogan had a free kick, which Navas tipped over. I thought was a very, very good save. You'd have been pleased with it yourself. I'll go through some points before I come to onto the goal. Algerian Warrior says, I saw Foden was in a very good position to deliver the pass, but Haaland was never in a good position. I think Haaland was. He was ahead of the defence.
Slightly early, about a split second early or a second early, something like that.
I think Haaland was in a decent enough position to score. He was ahead of the defenders. They weren't catching him. Mr. Rolp is worried about KDB. No middle ground with KDB. Brandon says Grealish continues with decent form, which is a plus. Yeah, it's decent. And he got fouled a few times, which is normal. Many twists and turns, absolutely. But I don't want those twists and turns to allow United to get back in it, or even Liverpool, who were on a run. Hey, I told you a few weeks ago that I think Liverpool will get top 4. People that said Chelsea were never going to do it. The only team that could get top 4 from that position was Liverpool, because Liverpool are the only team besides City and obviously United now capable of putting a good run together, and Liverpool are doing that. I think some people have said Newcastle will drop off. I think there's a good chance they will now. This was the drawing all those games has really hurt them. I saw a great quote. Was it ESPN or whoever it was said? Newcastle have lost only 2 games this season, and each one, Liverpool are the only team to beat them. And I just said, well, so what? How many teams have beaten Liverpool this season? There's 7 or 8 beat Liverpool. So it doesn't mean anything. Does that mean that any team that Brentford deserve the title because they beat City because we're the champions from last season? It's rubbish. Liverpool just got lucky with those 2. Look at how many games they've lost this season. It's daft comments. Foden had a fantastic game, took on his man, showed pace and character. Actually, I think he did have a good game. Big Morgan says we were sloppy, no excuses. And Algeria wanted the difference between Aguero and Haaland. Aguero, he knew exactly when he opens the space and when he takes responsibility to score. Let's go through some. Look, Forest scored that goal. Forest are on social media showing that everybody had a touch of that ball. And it was too easy. It was far too easy. That fella cuts in, 3 players around him. He cuts straight through them, knife through butter, rolls it past to guy on the right wing, or in the box, sorry. He puts it across to the far post and it's tapped home. It was too easy, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, early on in the move, obviously, you got your Bernardo playing left back, and he got totally sold early on. Which was it Laporte at the back there? He he strolled past him. Was it Laporte? Held his hands up. I couldn't forget. I don't think it was Foden. It just looked as though I couldn't make it out. It was out on replay. I kept watching it back and back, and it says, "Oh, just give up on it." It could have been Laporte. I'm not too sure, but we just it was like it was a comedy, really. It was a comedy of City players panicking and falling all over the place. There's no calm heads anywhere in that defensive line. We're all panicking, all rushing about like scalded cats.
Someone had to take control, and nobody did. Laporte, he's a senior player. He's 28 years old. He should have taken control of that situation. And you got whatever 6, 8, 10 minutes or whatever to go. Whether you
had plenty back, we had plenty of men back. It was no big deal. I think we had 4 or 5 men running back, covering back.
You could turn around and just say foul him because the guy's 10, 15 yards outside the box. We didn't get any bookings. I mean, I know we shouldn't say yes, let's get bookings, but again, we played another game where not a single City player was booked. And when you're dominant like we were, there's probably no need. But when 5 minutes to go, perhaps someone should take a booking just to stop something happening. That's what I said. You do that booking 15 yards at least outside your box. It's going to have to be something spectacular for them to be able to. You don't want to score direct from the free kick, but it'll have to be a good cross, bit of luck. Maybe we didn't want them to do that because Chris Woods is on, and he'll use a bit of obviously his height and his strength in the box. Maybe we didn't want to give a free kick away just for that. But you talked about game management. Weren't great game management. Obviously, we had all those chances. We should have put an extra defender on. But Pep doesn't want to put subs on. Why not?
We'll need to put a sub on for 80, 82, 83 minutes because we were dominating. But I think their second lot of substitutions when Wood come on, I thought that would have stung him into a little bit of action, but we didn't get any action from Pep, which is when we did get action, what a waste of time that was, 88 from 89. And the annoying thing is, it's not just the fact he put Alvarez on at 88 minutes or Aki and Alvarez on that late. It's the fact that he put them on separately. So he not only put 2 substitutes on, he put them on at separate times, wasting our time. I mean, I just don't understand it. And why make the substitutes anyway? Look, they've just drawn level. We've got just as much chance. He put Aki up front. Well, so just leave it as it was. We might have just got one. If we just went for it, we might have got another goal. But what does he do? He disrupts the whole team by making 2 unnecessary substitutions. It's too late then. Just leave the guys on the pitch to try and get that second goal. Absolutely pathetic from Pep. Pathetic.
Yeah. I think Mr. Ola makes a good point. Forest don't score that goal with Aki on the left. Aki shuts that down, and I think Aki does.
Should have been on as soon as Wood came on and we knew what they were doing. Aki should have been on that pitch.
He needed more height.
Plus Phillips and Aki, I would have put on.
Yeah, I totally agree. Sean says comes back to Pep, should have reverted to defensive shape. Big Morgan, when Forest scored, Pep freezes, game over. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give a running commentary on the subs. We're on 998 subs, guys. So thank you, whoever's just subbed. 2 more to go. We will get there by tomorrow. We will do it because someone will join whilst we're on live, or someone will join afterwards. But for sure, we'll get it tomorrow. If I can get another stream out tomorrow, I think we'll get there.
Just like the Algerian warrior there.
Pep said after the Arsenal game, we tried a tactic in the first half that didn't work, and what he did against Forest used the same tactic. Stupid bald head. Don't
let him have a go at us, or Pep.
Well, I don't think we're as daft as Pep. I think we'd have done something. Look, he's got away with Bernardo playing at left back, and he's thinking, well, just carry on. But you're right. City was so good, we didn't need to take the risk. We had so many opportunities, so much control. I remember in the first half, 85% possession. We didn't need to take any risks. And sometimes you get carried away. You become complacent. You don't think about what could happen. And I think whoever said it was Mr. Rollup said, if Aki's on the pitch, they don't score that goal. I think he's right. Aki's not going to, I don't think, be caught up the pitch.
Cooper has a game plan. We've seen other teams do it against us where they keep in the game at 1-0. We know from past experience that they're going to try and go for it that last 10 or 15 minutes. It's injury time. So we must have, Pep surely has a change of plan as well for that last 10 or 15 minutes. We're only 1-0 up here. We should be 6-0 up, but we're only 1-0 up. So what I'll have to do now is go to plan B. But sadly, Pep doesn't have a clue about actually, doing that at the moment.
Once it goes back to what you said a couple of times, and others have said, as soon as Wood's on, that's when you change your plan. If Woods had started that game, okay, would we have played it any differently? I think we do.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're going to make a sub, say, oh no, Woods is on. We're going to have to sub Bernardo off and get somebody else on straight away. No. But I think we would have played slightly differently. I'm bold, Ray. Oh, he's bald with an A, man, with an A. Bald, we'll spell it for you.
Bald. Yeah, we're all bald, Algerian warrior, don't worry. We're all bald and bald. Bald and bald.
Got up in the Champions League. Look, we're just going to get. All I'm interested in right now is get through Leipzig. That's it. I'm not looking beyond them. Pep's all in the Champions League. Well,
let's face it. That was a pretty strong team he played yesterday. So he knows how important the league still is to us. Once we beat Arsenal, we were back in it. It was in our own hands again, and he played a bloody strong team yesterday. And that team should have been out of sight. Unfortunately, it was only that last 15 minutes that we think Pep did wrong. Other than that, Pep was spot on for most of that game with the team he played.
Yeah, I'm just going to pull up City's fixtures because obviously it's happened a few times. It's happened a few times where the Champions League, when it at some point, it affects the next game. Because it's not so bad right now because there's a 2-week gap, isn't there? I think. But when it's very close, it affects the next game. So, for instance, the Leipzig game, it'll affect a game at somewhere down the line. It won't affect the next game is Bournemouth. Then we got away at Bristol City in the Cup. So Bournemouth is on Saturday evening, sorry. Then we got a big game Saturday, 4th of March against Newcastle. We've got Palace. We've got a week off, apparently. Don't know how that's going to happen. Then we've got Palace on the Saturday and Leipzig on the Tuesday. Now, depending on what happens over in Germany, will affect that team against Palace. That's what I'm kind of build up to. We saw it when we played Chelsea. And I said this, 2 things about that Chelsea a couple of seasons ago. We lost them in the league. We were coasting, we weren't bothered. We lost them in the FA Cup, I think partly because Pep took it easy, but we also had a big Champions League game coming up, and I think it was tight. And then we obviously lost to them in the Champions League final. It's the same with Arsenal. They lost in the FA Cup to us, and I said at the time that's going to affect them. That'll give us momentum a little bit for our game. It knocked them back a little bit. They had a mini slump, and then we beat them as well in the league. So that's, some of my concerns is now the Champions League is back. we should have been neck and neck with Arsenal. This is it, you know, and then we could have got away potentially somewhere down the line, getting a point somewhere. What we can't, we're in the position now where we just got to keep winning, and that's going to be really difficult. That Leipzig game straight after the Palace is going to be extremely difficult. So that's my concern, that Palace is going to be a very difficult game. And
I mean, it's not, you know, we were crap there last. I remember last season we all over them, and obviously they got away with a draw in the last season, so it's not easy. And also yesterday as well, I think that strong team, I think he hoped we'd get a 2-3 goal advantage. He could take players off and rest players, but unfortunately he didn't have the chance to take anybody off because we were at 1-0. So
I don't mind about losing Sterling, Jesus, and Zinchenko. I honestly don't mind, because we replaced Jesus with Haaland. You can argue we replace sort of.
I don't think any City fan anywhere would object to losing Sterling. Any City fan anywhere wouldn't object to Jesus going, because we knew what replacements we had in. And yes, Zinchenko is as a utility player, we lost that ability. Of course we did.
But what I'm saying is, we lost Sterling and Jesus from up top, but we got Alvarez and Haaland.
Yeah, they were replaceable. I mean, Zinchenko's the funny one where you just didn't have
Zinchenko, even though his utility was playing left back, but he was always generally second choice behind Cancelo. And then we got Gomez as well. So, you know, I
looked all right. At the stage, it wasn't a big problem, was it? Yeah,
it wasn't a big issue. So it is. I think it is what it is. I don't think it's naive, really, because I think we got the replacements. Now I've got to get into Manchester at some point and do a video, and it's going to be a controversial video. It will be. I'm not going to tell you what it's about because I don't want to spill the beans, but I'm going to talk about a player that I think City should buy, and it's totally left field. No one's going to guess, and don't have a guess, Bernard, just in case you're as bonkers as I am and you guess it. But I'm going to save that for the next couple of days. So what's this? Haaland was an Aguero as replaced, Alvarez replaced Jesus. There you go. You can't really argue about that. Zinni is a B player, cost his Champions League final. Yeah, I think there's more than just Zinchenko. He switched off, but Pep's setup didn't help, and Sterling missed a good chance. So regardless of what my brain's like, I remember things like Sterling missing that great chance in the Champions League final when he allowed Reece James to get back to him. I can still see it going through my head. I can remember Kyle Walker switching off in the Champions League against Lyon when he just had his, he had his man to mark, but he played the guys in the middle onside, and then he let his man go, and his man was the guy, was that Cornet who scored. So, it's just happens to be Champions League. That's kind of sticking in my mind, some big mistakes. I can remember Aguero missing Champions League game against Spurs, missing the penalty. And I said, if we score that penalty, we're through, because you got away goals, and we were not going to we were too good to get beat at Spurs that night. But, we'd have got away with a draw and would have beat them at home, because I think the pressure would have been too much. But when they came to Manchester, they had something to hold on to. And I think that made a difference. Whereas if we'd drawn 1-1 or 1-0, I think the pressure would have been too much, and they'd have obviously had to go for it. And I think in those days, we were just too good. Algeria Warrior says, I've seen Arsenal game. They were lucky. Aston Villa did not score. 2 great chances before Arsenal. Yeah, absolutely. Arsenal weren't brilliant, but they were resilient. Okay, and they did what was required. Zinchenko's missus wanted to live in London. City couldn't compete with the model. Well, I think you're just guessing there, but he's an Arsenal fan. He's likely to play from the start. He's going to be with Jesus. Arteta's there. Lots of positives for Haaland. I'm not going to do any more FFP for a bit. I think Billy's BC TV. We're going to, for a bit, focus on football. Bottom line with FFP is I'll just say it briefly. It was a con. It potentially had good intentions to stop owners laden in clubs with debt and put them out of business. But they allowed United, but they fiddled it. Allowed United and people like that to have a lot of debt off the books. are on the books, and it's to stop teams like City and now Newcastle and anybody else who gets a bit of money from an investor wanting to go in there and make a difference, because the clubs that voted for it, you get all the big clubs that are at the top. So Chelsea voted for it, even though they use this to their advantage. When Abramovich came, they voted for tight FFP. United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Spurs, they all did it. They all did it to stop City. And then you got some idiot clubs who went along with it as well. And then you obviously got the European thing, and then you got the Premier League, which is a little bit, I think, a bit laxer, but everybody wanted it. It's just misplaced. Yeah, it was hijacked, Mr. Roller. It's to stop City and anybody else like City. Anybody else like City. It's to stop us. It's all the big clubs want to keep the status quo. And now the new FFP that's going to be in there, the model where you can only spend, was it the first year 90% of what you earn on wages and something else, and then it's going to go down to 70%, and that's not about sustainability. You know what that's going to allow? It's going to allow the owners to make more profit. That's what it's going to allow. That's what you got a salary cap in the States. Those guys can make money with the American football. And once you get to a situation where you can only spend, clubs are spending 90% of their income on wages, for argument's sake. When that's in 3 or 4 years' time, when that's down to 70%, well, where does that 20% go? Is it going to go to the agent? Oh, that'll be regulated as well. So where does that 20% go? It's going to go to the owners. So owners are going to, can you imagine before, when your turnover was, let's say your turnover was 200 million. Before, you might be spending 180, 190 million on players' wages and amortization or whatever. Now you can only spend 70%. So that's 140. You've just gone and saved yourself potentially 30, 40, 50 million quid. Where's that going to go? You're not going to spend, where can you, it might mean that transfer fees go up. It might mean that transfer fees go up to compensate, or image rights go up, or there's something to because if you say sorry, Mr. Whoever, you should be on 200 grand a week, but because of the rules, we can only pay you 150. He might go somewhere else. So there's going to be a lot of fallout from that. But I just think owners are going to probably make more money, unless I've missed something. Mr. Abdi Algeriano says, I don't mind losing a game or two, but I hate to lose match because the ball man tries his weird ideas when City need to win. It's true. We need to win every game because United are sniffing, about. Arsenal obviously pulled away. Let's look at the table, give you a quick rundown. So Arsenal on 54 points after 23 games. We're on 52 after 24. United are 3 points behind. Obviously, our 23 goal difference is going to make a difference. Actually, in the last 5 games, City and United have got the same number of wins, draws, and losses. But we just laughed after United when they had a loss and a draw when they thought they could challenge. And guess what? We've had a loss and a draw, which has allowed them to claw their way back to us. 3 points behind. Look, we can afford to drop points and stay ahead of United, but we can't afford to drop points if we want to challenge Arsenal. Now we've got 14 games to go. We can only get to 94 points. I did say at the start of the season, I think you need to get at least 90 points to win it. Arsenal got 15 games to go. If they can, I think if Arsenal win 12 games, if they win 10 games out of the remaining 15, that gets them to 84 points. Let's say they can draw 3. That's 87 points. That doesn't give us much room to play with. It really doesn't give us much room to play with, because to get to 87, we need another 35. We need to win 12 out of the last 14 games. On one of them. So it's tough. We can do it, but I think it's really, really tough.
We can do it, but we're not seeing momentum. We're not seeing momentum. We're not seeing it. We're just not seeing it.
We need to win. I think we need to win 12 out of our next 14 games. Okay, including the Arsenal game. We can't draw with that. We can't have that. We've got to beat Arsenal. So we've got to win 12 of the 14 games. And we've not won more than 3 games on the bounce this season. So you're right. You can't see where it's going to happen. Can't see where it's going to happen. Unapologetically, Blue says the FA and the referees are screwing us. We've been inconsistent with this. Look, every fan base thinks that they're out to get us, and they're just not been very good. I think I read somewhere that if without VAR, we'd be top of the table. We'd be 3 points clear or something. But look,
I think I saw one where we were second or something like that.
Yeah. Well, Arsenal have been. They'll turn around and say, "Look what happened against Brentford." Ignoring the, but didn't Brentford have some VR mistake against them? Obviously, you only remember the ones that are against you and for somebody else. But it is what it is. It's not going to change. But I do believe they need a different system, and I don't know how you do that. The problem is the PGMOL, the Premier League, with the PGMOL, the referees organisation. And they're patently not good enough. Patently not good enough. Now, I'm not going to bore you too much, but in my previous life, I used to be what was called an internal auditor. I looked at systems. I looked at the ways. I looked for weaknesses. I looked for errors in systems. I looked for fraud as well as other things. So and so I look at these things, and what you're trying to do is anticipate things. However remote the chance of something happening is, you try and anticipate it. And unfortunately, there are too many errors going on, like Lee Mason not drawing a line. I was going to say...
Well, see, I mean, this VAR assistant, I do have a bit of a laugh on mine saying they're making the cup of soup and stuff like this, but I think they do, because obviously they've got assistants. What the hell are the assistants? They're not saying, hey, you forgot to do this, Lee, or whatever. I mean, what are they there for? What are the assistants there for as well? I mean, they're like the lines with the VAR, aren't they? Just whatever the guy says who's doing it. I mean, they just seem to be there for show.
Yeah, well, it's terrible. They should have... and you're not going to get everything right. You're not going to cater for every eventuality, okay? But you should have some sort of flow chart or something where if you do this, then you do that. And there's no way that the line was, there's no way you should miss stuff out. There's no way. And maybe, I don't know how you do it, because you can't have 20 people reviewing what someone does. You can't do that. I don't know how you do it. Maybe you have, and this might sound crazy, 2 lots of VAR. So you have, but they're separate. They don't talk to each other. They're in different buildings or whatever. No, and then it's like having...
Okay, I agree with the principle.
Well, you got 3. It's like you got 3.
Get rid of the bloody thing. It'll be all right.
I think you get this in the Olympics. You got 3 referees, okay, and they all press a button. And if 2 of them press the button,
where they have to register a punch.
Yeah, that's it.
Registered offside. Yes, it was offside. Yeah. 2 against 1.
Have to give it to So I don't know. You don't have a lot more people. You just want people who are competent. It's not just the people need to be competent. The system.
Let the fans do
it. Well, X Factor.
Interactive football with everyone there with the clickers.
You got to phone in, pay 50p to decide what the decision was. Did you see some of the decisions in the Rag Leicester game? The cheating is blatant. Sometimes you think some of the errors are so obvious that it has to be more than you get to conspiracy theories. But honestly, some of these referees are just so bad that they look like they're corrupt. They're just so bad. Strange to say we could be Arsenal 3 times this year, but still finish second. Yeah, it wouldn't be good. Remember, it's a record. That's just to be honest, I don't believe anything. I don't believe anything until I've seen it, because this. Look, I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but I read something. There's a fella, a French TV guy. He was. They found out. I think it was that the stuff came out yesterday. He got pulled off the TV. Late night TV he does back in January, and they didn't know why. Now it's what's found out. They found out that there was a company paying, for let's get my words right. They were pushing false news stories. Okay, so someone could pay that company to push a false news story to get it into the news. And because what this guy was, because they said because he was doing late night stuff, overnight stuff, not many people would watch it. But one of his things exploded. That it been picked up in the by. It was they're undermining, whether they're undermining governments or other companies or people or whatever. And they said they had hundreds of people who would put out this misinformation on social media or wherever. So you don't know what to. The problem is you don't know what to believe now. It's. I was nearly went into politics, which I don't think Bernard would have enjoyed. But there's a lot of crap going on where people are putting out misinformation, and you don't know what to believe. That's the problem. So this is rumor, and until I see it, even the Der Spiegel stuff, where they had the emails, apparently they spliced some together. So they'd taken bits from one and bits from another and put them together to make it look worse than it was. And it's like, well, what can you believe? Who can you trust? On beIN Sports today, they were laughing at the not red card and offside goal. Well, there you go. I saw one picture of the red card. Souness was it Souness annoyed by that? Said it should have been red card. Beckham got sent off. Was it Beckham who got sent off for a little flick when he was on the floor? Rooney as well. So for minor little things, it was a horrendous challenge. Well, basically, the ball's gone behind him or something, and the defender stood there with his legs there, and the guys just kind of pushed his leg back with the studs onto his shin, okay, but with a decent amount of force. And I think Souness wanted that as a red card. So you'll see it on Match Today or wherever. It wasn't pretty. It was a red card because it was not really going for the ball. And you could argue, well, the ball was there somewhere. But
just reaching out for it.
You slam somebody on his shin. That's dangerous. Is it reckless? It probably deserved it more. And I saw I don't know which game it was. I saw one where it was classed as onside, but the line said offside. It is crazy. Algerian Warrior is probably still having a go at Pep. I play football and learn that if the tactic does not work, you have to go back to basics. I told you he's still having a go at Pep. I hadn't read his comments, but he's still having a go at Pep. And I'm still going to have a look at how many 998. We haven't got to 999. That'd be great. Come on, guys. Anybody watching this afterwards, give us a subscribe. Let us get there. Funny how the refs are never so bad in favour of City. Unapologetically Blue says, it's fair to say that the media have glorified Man United's potential to cover the Qataris, but have demonized City. Absolutely. Suddenly, I've not heard. Well, the thing is, when City got taken over, they made fun of us. Absolutely made fun of us because they thought, yes, we got these rich Arabs who are going to, I got to keep it clean. It's not. Oh, it is 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock now. So we've got these rich Arabs who are going to spunk their money away, and they're going to be gone in a few years after, like Mashiri's done with Everton, like that kind of thing. They just made a total mess of it, but they didn't. And suddenly, City started spending and started becoming really good. And instead of being a joke and a club that they could make fun of, City became a big threat once we started showing that we meant business. Because the first few, some of the transfers under Mark Hughes were diabolical, but we started getting it right. When we splashed out for Aguero, Silva, Yaya Toure, it showed we meant business. And since then, it's become a lot more than just having a laugh at us. It's been it's been xenophobic against the owners. Now United look like they're going to get potentially Qatari owners, and suddenly it's all right. Everything's great. So you know what it's all about. And I heard. Have you seen that video, Bernard? You might have seen the video. What was it? Sky were interviewing or asking United fans for comment.
The Irish guy.
Mate, there was no locals. There's a guy from at least 2 or 3 guys from Ireland. The first guy was from Wales. There was no one from Manchester. none. So you know where they're all coming from. But look, United are a big club, one of the biggest, and they got support throughout the media and everything else, and they're not going to come out and lambast them the way they lambasted City. It's a shame, but that's the way it is. Let's go through some comments because we're on for almost an hour. Wasn't even a yellow. Says, yeah, he got no card whatsoever. Akash says, I'm worried about our team already reaches peak, less and less chance of. Look, this team is on the decline. We need changes, okay? And no matter that, overall, I still think Gundogan's is a very, very good player. Mahrez is a very good player. KDB is a very good player. Bernardo's a very good player. It ain't working well enough that those players. It isn't. And please, if I can get the chance to do this video tomorrow, watch the video, because I'm going to throw a name into the mix that will make your jaws drop onto the floor. Don't say anything, Bernard. Don't say it. I got decided that someone will guess it. I'm not going to tell you who it is. The media hatred and bias on City is real. No doubt about that. Even Pep has mentioned bias in the past. All City comedy. The moment, Sprinkle Fart 99 and playoff mix up between Weekends and Weaver.
About a minute on it. That was first minute of the game, wasn't it? If I remember rightly.
So many times. What was that? Was it the Liverpool game where we drew 2-2 and we needed to win?
Oh God, that was a joke. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where they get these false rumours from. I mean, we were in the Kippax, and we knew we had to win the game. So how the hell did someone was telling them they didn't need to win the game on the other side of the pitch? I don't know, because everyone around me knew we had to win it. They all had the radios, and they all knew what was going on. So obviously the radios over in the main stand side must have been about a minute behind us or something. I'm not too sure.
Thing is, back in those days, trannies meant something else, didn't they? Transistor radio. United fans expect the Qataris to give them club back. Unfortunately for United fans, they are way off the mark, of course. Look, we know it's been for years. We don't own Man City anymore. It's Sheikh Mansour. All the clubs are going to get taken over. Big owners. As I said before, the fans contribute financially very, very little to the club. Through the turnstiles, City might contribute 55, 60 million out of 650 million. Honestly, we mean nothing. All we are is good for a bit of noise. We don't mean much, and that's why I said years ago that they would take advantage of us, and they are. It's if you got money, you get access, you get your tickets and stuff like that. You see yourself getting to away games. I'm surprised still how many young lads go to the away games. I'm really surprised because there's no blooming way they've got more points than you.
No, they have the window though, don't they?
They give the youngsters, was it 10%?
Yeah, they get a few tickets. They get a window the first day of selling without points. So I mean that's how a lot of the youngsters get in.
No, they were getting them before that. Before they did that, a lot of them. I'm not going to go down into too much. I was just thinking about it the other day. I remember there's one sports club that I was a member of. I've left it because.
There's a lot of supporters clubs where they're getting tickets and
this guy said he's never been a season card holder, but every time I went with them to games, he was there. He didn't have a season card. So, whatever people say, I don't think the lad was lying to me. I don't think he was clever enough to lie to me. But, he weren't making it up, in my opinion. So, that's the way it's going. And look, at some point, they'll increase the capacity. We'll be full. We will eventually. It won't be the empty had anymore. It'll be the full had or whatever. And they'll put the prices up. Because once you're at that stage that you can put the prices up, when you are oversubscribed, doesn't mean to be by much. If you put the season cards up by 25 quid a pop, it's an extra £1 million to City. Hopefully they don't go down the United route. I don't know if they're still doing it, where you have to buy the cup. You have to be on the cup scheme to be to have a season card. That would be the next thing, and that would be quite bad, really. But I think it'll take a few years yet, but it'll come. Chris says it's the world will now. All clubs going to be taken over by American or states. But first, Bernard was there too. Imagine the meltdown if City win the title. Oh, it'd be fantastic. That's all I'm waiting for. Is please, City, just win it. Just win it. Just win it. Because when Liverpool won it a few years ago, I mean, we were out, within by October, November, it was pretty much we were not in the title. So it would be really nice to win it. Just come on, City, do it. If City managed to win the league, does that allow the ball to be complacent again during the summer? I don't think they can be, even though we've obviously in a major refresh. Look at what's going on. Chelsea spent 600 million quid. They're going to be in there again. Apparently they're looking for Jude Bellingham, someone like Osimhen. They need a striker. Chelsea will be back in the summer. Okay. Arsenal wanted Mudryk, and they're going to pay 60-odd million quid for him. So Arsenal have got money, and they're willing to spend if the right players come along. And they're going to be looking for players. Arsenal are not going to rest on their laurels, whatever happens this season. Spurs are going to start getting money because of their stadium and the money that's bringing in. Liverpool have to spend a bit. United have bought their way back to challenge. So there's 5 clubs. Newcastle are going to start spending money. So there's 6 clubs. 6 clubs. The top clubs are going to be spending money. You're going to get people like Brighton and Fulham who have done pretty well this season, who will dip their hands in the pockets. Especially if somebody gets into Europe, they'll buy a couple of decent players if they can. City can't just sit back and relax. If we sit back, we'll be overtaken because you can see the aging squad. You might think, well, a lot of our players are in the late 20s and early 30s. It's getting old. If you go from Edison, off the top of my head, Edison's what, 28, 29? Walker's 32. Stones, Laporte must be in the late 20s. Ake probably as well. Bernard's going to find out.
Write it down somewhere, but I don't know where I wrote it.
I reckon they're all in the late 20s.
KDB 31, Grealish 27, Stones 28, Bernardo 28, Phillips 27, Akanji 27, Laporte 28, Gundo 32. 28. Yeah, I mean 26. So there's not, they're all 27, 28, 29. They're sort of
a lot of players who are 28 to 32. I think Mahrez is 31. Gundo's 32. KDB's 31, 32. So, and also the other thing is a lot of them have been here a long time. Mahrez has been here since we won the title back in 2018. You can see this will be his 5th season. KDB's been here, 7 seasons, 8 seasons? He came under Pellegrini, didn't he? So he's been here, I think, 8 seasons. Laporte has not been here too long, but Stones has been here 6 years. Walker's been here 5 years. That is a long time. So you do need to spruce things up. You do need some young blood. Now, it's a shame Foden hasn't carried on his upward curve because he would have been some of that young blood. It's a shame Palmer hasn't had, I think if Foden and Palmer were at the top of certainly Foden at the top of their game, and if Palmer had come through and this season and carried on improving as what we've seen last season, I think we might have let someone go, or we'd be prepared to let someone go in the summer. Now I think you hear rumours of an extended contract for Gundogan because Palmer's not ready. Foden's not ready.
Yeah, we've got a couple of lads out might have potential to come back in, like McAtee and stuff like that.
Yeah, McAtee, people are talking that Lavia's doing all right at Southampton. We might look at bringing him back as on our buyback clause.
I do like McAtee. Obviously, the level he's playing at, but you can certainly see a sort of player that Pep could mould, or a good manager could mould into a good little player.
Yeah, look, he was a great little player for City at that level when he was playing with the EDS, but he's way too good. He'll get there. Let's go through some quick comments because this stream isn't finishing. Am I superstitious because such a bad luck lately because with these Man City away kits? I don't know. I'm not superstitious. Colin says we can't all get caught up with these daft stories of conspiracy theories or referees. They're just crap. Yeah, I totally agree. They're just so crap that they look corrupt. They're that bad. Bill says one day in 80,000. I don't see that. There's not 80,000 people in Manchester, is there? 80,000 City fans.
Yeah, I struggle to get an 80,000 ground fill, to be honest with you.
I think 60. I like the idea of 60,000.
Average 58, 59. I'll be happy with that.
It will be aware of aging players. I'm certain of it. It's not just the aging players. It's some of them, as Pep said, or either directly or alluded to. They've been here a long time. And you do sometimes get bored, or not bored, but complacent, or and you might not be deliberately doing it, but it happens. It doesn't matter how much money we spend if the manager can't defend a league. We're going back. I thought we'd moved on from the game. It's City won the FA Cup, Premier League and Champions League. That is what I would like. Well, I'll tell you what, mate. If City win all them, we'd be running around Manchester for weeks, I reckon. The horns on the cars, beep, 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 and all that. If City win the treble, I'd be delirious. It'd be incredible, wouldn't it? It would, because that is the treble that, hey, they said is the only proper treble. Hope Vincent Kompany is still available. I think he's the man. The way he's getting Burnley wins. Yeah, he's having some bad games now and again. But even the other night, they were losing the game to Watford, and they'd been on top in the first half. Give a silly goal away from, I guess, your man Aaron Muric with his passing out and all, or controlling the ball. It was, if you haven't seen that was shocking from Aaron Muric for that. The ball comes over, he just has to let it go into the area and catch it. Instead, he takes a step outside the box or on the edge of the box, tries to kick it, he hits his thigh or something, and it's a calamity of errors there. They end up scoring. But I think they scored right at the end. They got the equaliser late on. So they fought to them, because then actually they fell off. I think Burnley did. But he got them through. So far clear. You've got to have something about you. And I think, obviously, we can see, I think Vinny's got that something about it. Chris wants City to win the league. That's because you're a secret City fan. Trash performance. We don't deserve the league. Wow! I mean, you come in after an hour and 11 minutes and slap us around like that. Most of the players bored. As I said, you've been there a long time. It happens. Most of our players have won multiple league titles. Time to inject some new, young, hungry players. That's the difference. Arsenal have got players who haven't done it, and on one hand, the lack of experience counts against them, but on the other hand, the hunger, the desire, sometimes the lack of fear is a benefit of the reins. I don't know what that referred to, mate. If Chelsea can get Zidane as manager, then Man City really need to spend big. Wow. If they get Zidane, wow. Could City? I don't think Zidane would fit in at City. I like him, because, hey, another ball manager would be cool. But I don't think we'd fit his style. Colin says, I actually think we'd played well against us. You're right. I know there are 5 properly good chances, at least, that we missed, and we scored a goal. So, could be another day. Sean wants another crack at the semi. Yeah, before I die, I want to win the Champions League.
Oh God, yeah, before I die. Yeah.
Right, guys. I know Burn's not working tomorrow. That's why he's not told me to sod off and stop the stream. I think at least we're not in the relegation zone. Come on, those days. Look, if those days ever come back, I don't know what I'd do, because the thing is,
spoilt.
Well, no, we've been spoilt for the last 15 years, Bernard. You get used to it.
I hate losing. I shouldn't be sad, but I still hate losing now more than I hated losing when we were crap. And that's because you're good. So when you're good, you just don't like losing. It's just part of the course. That's how it should be, I suppose.
When you're crap, you can accept it better because you're expecting
you enjoy the victories when you're crap, don't you? But we sort of accept the victories and get disappointed at the losses.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last look I'm going to do, 998 subscribers. I thought an hour on the stream we might get the 3 we need.
We're not carrying on till bloody midnight, mate, just to get you.
I'm going next week tonight. I had lunch and that's it. I've had no time for anything else. Sitting me in bald in dark days, says Alec. Hope we win our case. Yeah, I hope so as well. Guys, thanks for coming on. It's been obviously when you lose or you draw, you feel down a bit. I feel a bit down, not as much as, when you lose or you played badly, the Everton game, the Villa game, we weren't fantastic. At least we created a bag full of chances. On another day, we get these goals. That's the last couple of points, guys. You need to concentrate on Marvel movies, more subscribers.
Prefer DC, Colin. Prefer the DC movies.
Cheers, lads. Great stream. Up the Blues, Brandon. Up the Blues, guys. Up the Blues.
And Sean's going to get his twins to subscribe, so you'll be so...
1,000. 1,000.
Guys, if you had triplets, you could guarantee it.
1K subscribers gets you monetized. Well, it won't get me monetized because I need 4,000 hours. And because, especially during the World Cup and other times, I wasn't doing... During the World Cup, I didn't do, I think, any videos for 5 weeks. So I have my ups and downs. So I won't be monetized for a little while. I'm not far away. I'm not far away because I need those 4,000 hours. I mean, I've done really well this month, 1,500 hours in the last 28 days. That video that I did the other day with Bernard and Colin Savage, I'll tell you, Bernard, it's got 3,500 views and almost 900 hours on its own. So it's done. Obviously, it's done really, really well. But to get the last to get back to 4,000 hours, I'll tell you how many hours I've done in the last 365 days. I've done 3,000 hours. So I've still got to get 1,000 more hours more than I lose, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, obviously it's not just going to go up and up and up from there. I'm going to be losing stuff as we go. So I'm going to have to, I think I'll get there by the end of the season, as long as I'm putting videos out consistently. Let's last couple of points. We all support our teams no matter what form we're in. Absolutely. Cannot stand some fans who want Pep out. And where's the Manscaped? I'm trying to work out whether that's rude or not. Manscaped is that's a they used to do a lot of advertising on football channels. Manscaped,
yeah, they used to do JSGC. They used to do Manscaped, I think. JSGC, I think he used to have them at one stage. I don't know if he still has it.
They never asked me. I wasn't doing stuff at the time. I've had a few approaches, but not with anybody that I really want to be associated with. So that was even with the Man City Fan TV stuff, and I think with the other channel you get a few approaches, but I'm not interested. I think I got more approaches when I was bigger on Twitter, when I had almost 5,000 followers on Twitter. I think that I had a bit of reach. Now I've got not even 500. There's no reach with the stuff I do. But anyway, let's go, guys. Bernard, have a good evening.
Yes, and yeah, I'm going to put. What I've been watching? 1923 on Paramount Plus. I've been catching up with that. About 6 episodes. I think I'm up to episode 4. So watch a couple of them. Do a little bit of stat work in the back, a bit of updating my database in the background. And
what's that 1923 about, Bernard?
I think it's just, I'm not watching any of them. It's a sequel. Obviously, it's American 1923 with the ranch wars and stuff like that. So it's obviously over in Africa as well and various things. It's quite good. Harrison Ford's in it. Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren. Helen Mirren's in it.
What channel is that? Paramount.
Paramount, yeah, but I get it on that. I get it on a dodgy channel.
All right, yeah. No, yeah, I have Prime and that. My lad's got. I don't know how he's managed it, but he's got like 3 months or 6 months free of Disney Plus. And I don't believe it. It's free.
Yeah, you'll see when you get your bill.
Yeah, it's been. I'm sure he's got some free. I got Apple TV. I've never watched a single thing on Apple TV. I got 3 months.
Well, the dodgy one I've got, you can get all the series from all the different ones. So I couldn't in a million years afford all these different.
I only got the Apple because they offered me 3 months free, and I think he did the same with Disney. they offered him something for free. I don't know why they don't offer me.
Fortune, mate. Innit? You want to watch all the football, you want to watch all your films and TV. You'd have to be a bloody millionaire to subscribe to everything.
But you have to have square eyes, and you can't go to games. You can't go to games. That'd be if you. It's like when I years ago when I stopped going with my Sky subscription. I said, "What's the point?" I was going to over 30 games a season. Well, what time? How much time?
I mean, if you like, maybe because I don't watch many other teams anyway. I'm not that ass. I just watch City, so there's no point anyway, unless if you're loyal to your team. And match of the day does enough for me to watch the other games.
But the thing is, you go into half the games anyway. So in a season, you go into at least 30 games. Yeah. And I bet you go to at least a dozen away games a season, maybe 15. So you go into 3/4 of the games. Now, what's the point? I used to say, what's the point? Because some of the games I couldn't go to, Sky didn't have them anyway. So
this Forest game, just unless you were going, you can watch it. It's ridiculous. It's still ridiculous the fact you can watch. You're in the UK and you can't watch your own team. It's absolute joke. But if you're abroad, you can watch as many games as you want. It can't be right. Can't be right.
It was bonkers because when we lived in France, we could watch France. I just had to put it with the French commentary, but you could watch whatever games you want. And
even if it's pay-per-view, you got to. I mean, I did a history thing the other day, the first City pay-per-view thing we did on ITV back in the day, and just thinking, even if it's pay-per-view, I mean, at least it gives you the option. If you're not you can't get to the game, but. It's silly. No, but it seems to be more this year. There seems to be quite a few 3 o'clock kickoffs this season. I'm sure we've had at least 4 or 5, half a dozen this season.
Been a few, but it is bonkers. I kept the BT because obviously for the Champions League because I don't go to away Champions League games, and I certainly I'm not well behaved enough to get past away Champions League games from my missus. Well, as you see, you go into but the thing is, if I went to a Champions League game, that's 3 days. Yeah. Really, I'm not likely to go there and back on the same day.
Well, anyone with normal jobs must struggle. If you're retired or semi-retired or you work for yourself, it's fine. But anyone with a normal job, you just can't get Champions League away games. It's impossible.
Well, the only way to do it is go in the morning, come back in the evening, and then struggle the next day at work. Can't be doing that. Right, guys, I will go. It's been on for ages. Anybody new to the channel, please subscribe. If you watch the last 1 hour and 22 on replay, well done. But hopefully we'll be back tomorrow. We'll start looking ahead to Leipzig. I think when will Pep do his press conference on Tuesday, won't it? Because game's on Wednesday. So we'll do something tomorrow, hopefully, and then Tuesday we'll do the press conference. I might not even watch the game on Wednesday. It's supposed to be a rehearsal. I've got a show in March, and we still haven't written it. So I've got 5 weeks. We know roughly what we're doing, but we've got to write it and then get into all the rehearsals. So, and I want to do a lot of rehearsals. So I've got to go away on Wednesday just because that's the only day I could get away, hopefully, with my mate in a theatre to do some rehearsals. So it is what it is, but hopefully I'll get back and watch it. I'll be driving along the motorway watching it on. No, I won't be doing that.
No, officer. No, I didn't say that, officer. No, I didn't say
that. My lad was holding me phone. I wasn't watching that. Honestly, it was for me, for his sake. Thanks a lot, Bernard. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Cheers, cheers everyone who's been listening in and commenting.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll catch you tomorrow. See you around, Blues.